Brown paper is one of the best junk journaling supplies. I think it has so much potential, so that's why I decided to make this junk journal made just out of brown paper, and I'm filling up the pages slowly with different textures and all sorts of bits and pieces. So we're going to be adding some collage today, as you can see by all the things I have around me, but I've also been adding some other things to this journal as well, just because I've been really enjoying dipping in and out of it. So I just wanted to show you some of the things that I've been adding and how I'm starting to fill up the pages. So something that you might notice is I've been adding in little tip-ins here. So I love adding tip-ins to journals anyway. It's a really great way if you want to add things that you've made outside of your journal. So something I like to do is actually add things from old journals and sort of bring them into my new stuff, which I know some people don't like to rip up their old journals, but I totally do if I've only used like a few pages. But I've also been making these little, I don't know what you'd call them, just little cards almost. They're A7 I think, and I've just been like doing bits of collage and like totally random things and little like found phrases and stuff, and I've got a stack of them going now, and I was like, where can I put these, because I didn't really know what to do with them, and they're actually the perfect size for this little journal. And it also just felt like a really good way to get things going in terms of filling up this journal. So I've added a couple of them here, and I think just because they're on this white card and they pop and contrast so much against the brown paper, it's like I've added like mini little artworks, I suppose, and almost like pre-done journal pages. So yeah, I've just added a couple of these in. Other than sticking them in and just like adding some washi tape, I kind of let them just be a full piece on the page, and I might come in and maybe add a little bit of collage around them, but I'm quite enjoying the fact that they're just sort of sitting as little pages on their own. So this one I've just put straight in with some washi tape, and I've even added little tabs, as you can see, throughout the book here. So these ones are fabric, so these are a proper junk journal supply, because these were just you know, like the free fabric samples you can order from if you're getting like a sofa or something like that. Like I ordered a bunch of them for free, and the great thing about once I've decided which one I do want and which ones I don't like as much is that I can then cut them up and use them within my journal pages. So yeah, I've got this like really nice velvet green here, and also a blue one that I've added in a couple of places. It's like a bit of a denim. I think it goes really nice with the brown paper. I think just because I'd started adding these other little tabs here, I was just sort of inspired to start adding some more tabs to the pages. And another thing you might notice here is I've also been adding some stenciling to the pages as well. So in the same way as the cover here had the modelling paste stenciling in the white, it really pops against a craft background. So I started just adding some stenciling, and with this one I decided to go in the middle of the page just to bring these two together, because I don't know if you can quite tell on camera, but these are two different shades of brown, so I felt like they were kind of competing a little bit with each other. So having this down the middle kind of unifies them a little bit. So then I could have something maybe like here on the page, and this wouldn't feel too much like negative space because you've got the pattern carrying across. So not sure what I'm going to do, but I just figured it would be fun to have that across the middle as such a bold pattern. And the other bits of stenciling that I did is I actually stenciled onto just some brown tape. Now this was just tape from a roll, like just brown packing tape, but if you have tape that comes off like cardboard boxes, you could totally apply that principle to those types of tapes as well. I just didn't have any to hand, so I just used some from a roll. And when I peeled this, because I put it onto some plastic boxes just whilst I was doing the stenciling, and then when I peeled them off, I think it was because I was impatient and they hadn't actually dried properly yet, and they kind of had a bit of like a chalky finish to them, so they kind of like cracked in places and almost looked a bit distressed. So this is only just like white acrylic paint, but some of the pieces like rubbed off here, and at first I was a little bit like, oh, that wasn't what I was intending, but actually I quite like the way that it looks distressed on the page. So here I've just like layered two of them together, and applied the same thing of having something in the center of the page here, and I just think it's a really nice, like, easy way to get a textured base going. And the thing with junk journal pages a lot of the time for me is that I really like to have something to respond to on my pages. So even though I'm adding in these little full page pieces here, a lot of the things that I'm starting to do on these pages is actually like adding things for me to respond to. So these aren't like obviously finished pages, but I quite enjoy just like going back and forth and adding different bits throughout. So like here, just like random bits of stamping as well, and just starting to like set up little bits of like collage and things, and having all this texture, and just starting to build up the pages. And in doing that, this is like already getting quite chunky, so I think I might have to think about something for closure for this, because I've not really done much in it at all, and that's the way it just sits naturally. Barely even closes. I should probably put it under something like heavy, and that would help it to flatten out a little bit. But I think this is one of those journals that's definitely going to get quite chunky, just because I have a tendency to like tip things in and extend the pages and just add all sorts of ephemera. So yeah, and I'm going to be adding more collage here. But one more thing I just wanted to show was that this like plastic bag piece that I had that was like brown paper and then like a plastic see-through window. I didn't realize until I'd actually glued this down, but I think it's really cool that you can see this through the plastic. So I'm definitely going to try and keep that within the page here to work only on this section, and leave that as like a little design element almost, to have that peeking through, because I just think that's so fun that that's happened. And I really like when pages are like, you know, different sizes and you can see things showing through, like at the start here where we've got all the different pages that you can see there. But I just thought that transparency was quite a fun addition as well. So like I said, I've got all sorts of like collage bits and pieces here that I've pulled out. I've even got little stamps here. So if you haven't seen, I've got a fortnightly newsletter that I do now with journaling prompts, and it looks at like a different like topic about creativity each time, a little bit of like a deep dive. And one of the prompts was around mark making, and I don't know why, but I just decided to grab some stamps and just to start working on the back of them. And so I was doing like little doodles here, and some of them I turned the other way around as well, and just decided to work on the back of them, because that's something I like to do when I glue down stamps, is I don't always use like the front of the stamp, I'll use the back of the stamp as well. So I just started doing like bits of collage, and this one actually, I don't know why I thought this would be a good idea, and maybe it still is, but I don't know. So I decided to start like patchworking the stamps together, and I thought, oh, maybe this could be like, you know, one of those like teeny tiny journals, but I don't quite think that's gonna work with this, unless I was thinking I had like a little pocket somewhere within this journal, which I don't think, I mean, maybe this here, and I could put like the little mini journal within something like this. And I think it would have to maybe sit with something larger. So like this here is the perfect size actually for this little envelope here. So I think I'm going to leave that in there actually, because that's the perfect size, but I think it would have to go with something because it's obviously so small that it would get lost. I just decided that, yeah, why don't I add these little bits and pieces in as collage fodder, I suppose, and give them a home, because sometimes I have quite a lot of stuff that doesn't actually have a home within my journals. So that's what I figured this could be, and it would be a good way to get it started with everything that I want to add to the journal. And I just really like adding like collage clusters to things, so I'm definitely going to be working in this just like back and forth at this point, now that I've kind of got it sort of roughly like set up in terms of like I've got the pages. I added a few like interactive bits here and pockets. I feel like the structure's pretty much here now, and I have a few of these craft labels that I just thought might work nicely on some of these pages here. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to stick them down quite randomly, to be fair, just to get that base like I mentioned and see where it takes me. So where should we put this one? Maybe we should put it here. Oh, and maybe we could add the leftover bit as well. Seeing as this is a junk journal, I feel like we should embrace the using up stuff. And oh, maybe it could be a nice frame for this piece here. There we go. Oh, that's like the perfect size. Isn't it funny how that works sometimes? So as I was mentioning with the older journals, this is actually one that I've pulled from a pocket-sized journal that I had, and I ended up just using the remaining pages in another project, but obviously I didn't want to lose the bits that I had already done here. And see, something like this where it's just sort of all like pre-done, I figured I could just like tip this into the journal, like why not? And you know, maybe we could, should we pop it there? Like, you know, maybe it could just like go here, for example. And I think it's quite nice to bring some of my older stuff into the newer stuff. Like I'd probably redo this bit because it's got a little bit caught up in the ripping out of pages, but you know, definitely like this I really like. And I was really into doing this like whole punched thing down the side of the pages, which I think looks really nice. And I actually think it's really interesting to interact in this way with my old journals, especially obviously ones that are unfinished, because it's just really interesting to see how I was working. And I don't think it looks like too dissimilar to how I work now, but I can definitely see slight differences and progression, which is obviously nice to see. So I'm just going to try and tuck this masking tape in there because it's an envelope page and I don't want to cut off the envelope in case I actually do want to use it, because I'm tempted to potentially open up the envelope and kind of configure the pocket a little bit, but I think that's something for another journaling session. So let's just add the masking tape on the other side here. And I really enjoy using masking tape lately, and I think it goes really well with the brown paper effect of this journal. So yeah, I hope you don't mind this sort of like slower paced working in this brown paper journal video. I figured after the one that I did previously, we could just go at a little bit of a relaxed pace. See, look how easy that was, and it's like a pre-done little page from past me. And I don't know, I just think it's really nice to have that thread running through of like my previous journals and like bringing them with me almost. And yeah, I guess it's just a way for me to kind of really consider the things that I did enjoy and I did like. So I was really into my like tea staining during this phase, and it is something I kind of miss and I do want to do a bit more of, I think. But yeah, even like this punched holes down the side of a page was like something I did in quite a lot of pages as well. So I think if you do go back on my channel, there's probably a video of me actually creating this page if you did want to see like the original format of it. But like, how fun did it look within this journal with the contrast of the brown paper? I think that is like the ultimate thing to working with brown paper is having that contrast, because otherwise things can kind of get a little bit lost. Another thing I'm really loving adding into my journal pages is these like washi stickers as well, just for some interest that is also a little bit like a background collage element, because it's got that like translucent effect to it, so I'm not completely losing whatever is underneath. And I think it will be a nice way just to join these pages together, because obviously the fact that this is like a little envelope is a little bit random in terms of like pages, but I think even just like that, like carrying something over to the other side of the page can help to bring them together a little bit. So I feel like I've kind of got like a composition forming here where I've got it like leading towards the envelope here. So rather than like covering up this whole page, I'm kind of working towards the envelope, if that makes sense, so that then that is like the focal point, if you will. So that's kind of what's going through my mind as I'm putting that together. And I think I definitely want to put something in the front of here somehow. I don't know what, like maybe this sort of tag works. I definitely think it would need to have more on it, and maybe we could tea dye it or something, but the fact that there's this little like slot here at the front, I think would make a nice pocket. So let's put that there as a bit of a reminder. I think that that should be a pocket, and then maybe I could, I don't know, not with this, but like maybe I could cover this up so it kind of becomes more of a page. Maybe that could be tracing paper, like a translucent element perhaps. That could work quite well, because I think it's definitely fun to work with the ways that the pages are kind of constructed, like they're all like different. It's not just like a sheet of paper, they're all slightly unique. Oh, and then maybe what if I had like something like this where it kind of covers up the like harsh line here, so that you tuck this in and it's like a more of a torn edge. That could be fun. Let's do that. I literally just got like a random scrap of paper there, and I was like, I have an idea for the front page. And that's just how it goes sometimes. You just have to like play around with your supplies and the things that you've got, and just see what they lend themselves to, because like, you know, this tag for example just so happened to be like the perfect fit. But you just have to play around with the different things that you've got in your stash and how they might work. So I could probably do with like something else at the bottom here. Not quite sure what, like maybe this might work, but I'm not really sure. If it doesn't, I'll just stick it somewhere else. Oh, let's take that bit off here. And it's very subtle, but there's like little pink dots, which I think kind of go with the green of that. And then let's see, maybe some washi tape. I don't really know. I feel like this is still like building background elements. Nothing has been like a finished page yet. Just seeing what random things I have in my collage stash that kind of go together and might lend themselves to different pages. I really like script, whether it's like stamps or on washi. So I think this will be a nice addition. Let's do a layered one. Like obviously there's like way more that needs to be done to this, but I guess I'm just, yeah, like setting up the kind of the structure of what I think it's going to be. So you can immediately see there, like that looks like it could just be a page, but then also how nice that it's an organic little tuck spot, that then also if I just like left it like that and say that was decorated, it does also just look like a page as well. It's not like obvious that I've stuck something in there. It could just be a layered tag. I think we'll leave it there for now. That's my update of what I've been working on in this brown paper junk journal. I will see you in the next one working in more of this junk journal.